Hey, this is a response to the TheNatureGirl30’s video on She-Hulk episode 8. We both pretty much tapped out of this show after episode 3, but the Daredevil thing made me way too curious about how they were going to use him and how he was going to look. I was already aware of the old school yellow and red costume. Still don't like they don't have no double D's on that one or the red one, but that's a whole nother issue. Now, what you're seeing right here, that's probably the best thing that stuck out to me. Charlie Cox, and forgive me if I mispronounced the woman's name, Tatiana Maslany, their chemistry was very, very good. If this was in the hands of anybody else that knew legal dramas and knew comedy legal dramas, this would, and actually read the source material, I might add, this might actually be a very good pairing. I wouldn't have minded seeing maybe a one-shot between these two, because they seem to play off each other very well. Now, as for the episode itself, LeapFrog, he was a guy named Eugene from the comics. He was actually a good guy, and he was actually very more humble than the version we see here. But he's being written as a jerk, so in this case, he wasn't a major dude, so I didn't mind him being looked upon as some basically douchebag. Now, they continue to make Jen Walters look very inept at her job as a lawyer. If anyone has read the She-Hulk's comic books knows she's actually a very capable lawyer, just as good as Matt Murdock, but you would never know it watching this show. They make her look like a complete inept idiot. And may I add, the head writer of this show is a female. This is not written by males at all. It's mainly female writers, and they're making her look so stupid. Instead of sticking to the source material, they're trying to put in things from their personal lives into this character, disregarding anything from the comics aside from her changing into a big green woman. Now, Matt Murdock, aside from the Walk of Shame, which I'll get to in a little bit, he was pretty much untouched for the most part. Yeah, the quippy thing was a bit jarring, but it's not that unusual for Daredevil. If you look at certain versions of the comics, particularly the 1960s or later or more recent iterations of the character, he hasn't always been the Frank Miller type, although that's the one that's more popular and more well known. And I actually didn't mind quippy Daredevil. Now, this Walk of Shame crap, that was so unneeded and so unnecessary. I think that was fantasy from these writers of this show, who really, this is the only thing they could do to Daredevil, because I guarantee you they got to eat it from somewhere, probably higher up, that says, hey, this other stuff you've been doing to these male characters, we've gone along with it. We let you have free reign. Not with this one. No. And they probably had strict orders. Do not mess with this character. So this Walk of Shame thing is probably the only thing they could put in it. And honestly, it wasn't needed, and it wasn't even funny to me. Because more than likely, Daredevil and She-Hulk, after a night of getting it on, Daredevil's probably just going to be putting his regular clothes back on. Jen's going to be just coming out of the shower and then seeing him off. And then, more than likely, Matt Murdock's going to pass Jen Walters' best friend in the hallway. There ain't going to be no Walk of Shame. Both people are going to leave very happy, to put it in a mild way. And the very end, when the video, first of all, that whole Lawyer of the Year thing, female Lawyer of the Year, where they had Jen Walters walk up and then all this other ones could walk up, basically they getting a participation trophy. No, I'm sorry. That's not how life works. That's not how it works. You do not get a participation trophy in life. You earn what you get. That rubbed me the wrong way in that show. I mean, it's funny how all of a sudden when Charlie Cox disappears, all of a sudden it goes back into the utter insane, idiotic lunacy that it's been doing for the previous episodes. Then they're going to have She-Hulk's personal life, her personal stuff, up on the video, and her basically having a mild sex tape for the world to see that scumbag Josh recorded of them doing it. And plus, she was in her human form, but nevertheless had to be embarrassing. And what killed me to say, no, Jen, don't do it. And I'm like, why? She should be mad. She should go off. And I mean, there was so many chances of growth and character development in this particular episode. And to put it bluntly, they just pissed it away. Now, going back to Jen and Matt Murdock, I love the chemistry between them. But let me say this. She didn't talk down to Daredevil as bad as she did her cousin. I mean, I've seen plenty of videos talk about Daredevil is ruined. Oh, it's over. And I'm like, not really. Compared to the treatment of Jennifer Walters' own cousin, who's just as known as Daredevil, the Hulk, Daredevil was treated like royalty compared to him. So, nah, I think except for the walk of shame thing, I think he made it out of here fairly unscathed. And let me say this. It's funny how Daredevil, the veteran superhero, tries to tell Jen, hey, you don't need to be doing this and doing that. He's known as the dangerous vigilante, yet he does the least property damage. Jen wrecked part of a parking garage, which I hope there was nobody around or nobody had a camera of it or get a hold of security footage of it, because they would have one heck of a lawsuit on their hands. And one last thing, the Sokovia course, I will agree with Regina on that part. That's an awfully big detail to drop. That's an awfully big detail to drop out there without any explanation about what happened. So, yeah. Yeah, that's an awfully big detail to drop. But in any case, tell me what you think, guys. I'm out.